Part 4, 2D Marriage-Minded Men Beware continued. However, beware of phony romantic interest, that is, if you're internet dating. Never send money to any purported sweetheart from a dating site, newspaper ad, or someone who discovered your personal information. Cut off all contact with anyone who lays a guilt trip on you for not sending money. Some game players use the dating and romance scene to goad people, as a farmer upon a donkey dangles a carrot on a string before it. Worse yet is hooking up with a predator as one would eat a poison carrot. Thankfully, background checks are now available in some areas on everyone. Phone numbers are traceable to their source. Furthermore, some adopt completely fictitious personas accompanied with sending pictures of someone other than themselves, or pictures that are 20 years outdated. This sometimes goes on for years, a phenomenon so notorious, a new word was coined for the perpetrators. They are figuratively catfish. This phenomenon was the subject of a television show called Catfish, whose hosts investigated tumultuous internet relationships. The easiest, most common way unpopular men with financial means get married is via marriage agencies that connect men with women from foreign countries. That's what I did. Again, but it only lasted 6 weeks, so beware of that too. It was a fiasco. The only reason, what I see it, is the only reason a woman would, in hindsight, the only reason why a woman would prefer to leave her own country and family when she could find a fine local man is financial gain. Either she wants to use the man for money or sees his country as a way to start her own business. I married that way, and my Ukrainian bride, after coming into the United States, divorced me after 6 weeks, since I refused to allow her to spend all my money and boss me around. Here's a guideline for a man who has found someone to proceed with the relationship. The woman should be never married, no children, no expensive investments while courting, talk over pertinent issues before marriage thoroughly, prenuptial agreement a must. Woman must accept the man's leadership and traditional gender roles and responsibilities. Man must have his own place, no joint ownership. Woman must move into man's place. Man should make more money than woman or have greater financial means. No expensive wedding or reception, unless the bride's family pays. Men who cannot afford to have children must find a woman who is unable to have children or has no desire to do so. Minus any of the aforementioned criteria, proceed at your own risk. 2E, drastic action. Marginalized single men who insist on addressing their heterosexuality should perhaps start marching, protesting, engaging in legal battles, and educating the public to gain their rights. Being insured of a good paying job, good neighborhood, protection from unreasonable divorce, and traditional patriarchal rights being intact is indispensable. Without these assurances, even a smoking hot wife can be a sort of Damocles, worse than having nobody, especially if she's a sociopath. I've lived it and experienced it. However, if society doesn't care, acquiring women by force might become imperative. If you are starving or dying of thirst, logic tells you to take food and drink from others by force if those needs cannot be met another way. It's common sense survival. We go back to the caveman days, where the cartoon where he clobbers the single woman in the head, and he drags by your hair and all that. If God put women on earth to be wives and mothers, common sense dictates that we don't allow others to defraud us and our potential children of a future. Real men secure the future by force if necessary, as they've done throughout history. Without their backbone, cultures cannot survive. Regardless, we must stop single women from getting welfare checks, which causes them to replace husbands with the government. We must also outlaw artificial insemination and other weapons of radical feminism. The most important thing is to stop teaching young women the nonsensical idea of seeking independence from men and pursuing careers instead. Otherwise, heterosexual relationships will become extinct. Since the system promotes brokenness instead, men defecting and forming their own country with traditional values or overthrowing the government may eventually be their only option. And never court a woman with bipolar disorder. You can never tell if she's vested or not. She may soon commit to you and even pick out her wedding dress. 3 days later, she may dump you and cut off all contact. Then she may feel very sorry and resume the relationship. Then she may dump you again. up and down like a yo-yo. And there's no cure for that condition. If nothing works, we still need acceptance, and others in our situation must stop being sources of negativity. Though unable to muster cheerfulness, we can still be supportive. Part 3, accepting things we cannot change. 3A, escaping the insanity. Again, society expected men to endlessly pursue women until they found a life partner. If they did not, they were thought to offend biology or God and be perverse and sick, perhaps dangerous. Again, some men cannot find a woman no matter what and are coerced into wasting their lives chasing women and suffering endless rejection. Other men can attract women, but only abusive ones. After such men are accepted as a dating interest, them paying for everything still doesn't satisfy women who complain about unequal wages. The women completely control these dating relationships, often dumping the man without warning. If such men get married, their wife spends their money, controls what home interiors look like, controls what he eats, dictates where he goes, and decides if and when he has sex. The wife may threaten to divorce him if he doesn't comply with all her demands. If divorced without a prenuptial agreement, a man may lose his property and be forced to make alimony payments for life. The ex-wife may also force him to pay child support while she takes away his children and teaches them that their father is no good. Therefore, some men who pursue women commit a mortal sin against sanity. The natural, as mice love cheese, becomes an unnatural weapon of destruction, cheese hooked to mousetraps. In response, a MGTOW identity has arisen, MGTOW. MGTOW is an acronym for Men Going Their Own Way. Many of them have called themselves a movement or an online community. This is a good alternative identity for TFLers, True Force Loneliness, and incels, involuntary celibates. MGTOWs avoid the dating scene, many avoid any association with women, and often ignore their attractiveness. This is also known as taking the red pill. Men who are involved with a woman or who pursue a relationship are taking the blue pill. This comes from a movie wherein a character can choose either a red pill that will break his enslavement to his illusory dream state and allow him to enter reality, or a blue pill which will keep him oblivious. Stay tuned for part 5.